Actually, Robbie, what you mentioned about the geography is really a major factor. Now, let me just emphasize that because the reasons and the common factors among these provinces that you mentioned is that they are located along the typhoon path. We know that. And then second, these provinces are actually located within a landscape that is so large as the Cagayan River Basin for the Cagayan province. And for Tarlac, Nueva Ecija, Pampanga, Bulacan, they're located within the large basin of Pampanga River Basin. And when you have very large, basin that capture rainwater, you expect a lot of surface runoff that will flow over land. And this is what is causing a lot of problems. Now, what makes these provinces seem like to be at greater risk? It's because of what we have in these provinces. In most of those provinces or all of those provinces that you mentioned, we have the vast agricultural lands that we have. We have the vast rice lands and corn lands, that are easily damaged when there is typhoon, when there is floods, and this is what's actually giving us a large amount or amount of yearly. And that is why, these provinces appears to be, on top of the list because of these factors.
Is the size of the settlements also a big factor here? I ask also because I'm sure a lot of people will know, bakit wala ang Batanes dyan? I mean, yan ang parating tinuturo sa atin sa grade school. Batanes is the most typhoon-prone in this country that is most typhoon-prone. Bakit po wala ang Batanes dyan? Does it have to do with the size of the settlements among all of these provinces that we mentioned as well?
Yes, that's right. Because the metric that they use, the metrics that they use for calculating the risk is, the probability of occurrence of a certain disastrous event and the amount of exposure. That includes the size of the population, the infrastructure that you have there, the type of crops that you have there. You have rice in these provinces. Yes, you're right. It has something to do with the potential areas and people that will be affected by the disaster event.
We have seen a lot of extreme flooding in the past months, not just here in Metro Manila, but also down south in Mindanao. Is that something new for the country? And also, with all of the changes, with the sinking cities, how do we adjust then our response in terms of building infrastructure, in terms of long-term solutions?
Yeah, well, what we're seeing now actually has been happening for a long time. It's just that now, we have, we're getting more and more people affected, more and more infrastructure, getting affected because development, is going on even in areas that are not supposed to be built upon. So that's the problem. Now, what do we do from here to shield us from any additional or further damages in the future? It's actually, making sure that our planning system, is made more robust, in the sense that we take into consideration the probability of occurrence of these of these disaster events, so that we can identify which areas are not supposed to be built zone. The no-build zone is actually something that we need to really pinpoint and then have the political will to make sure that these areas are not used for purposes that are not supposed to be there because of their exposure to
but Mr. Cruz, it's been decades and we still don't even have a land use act. That's one thing that I've been advocating also for a long time. It's time now for us to fix the way we plan for our land use and development, and without the national policy, the policy framework for that, it's going to be very difficult. Because right now, the regulation of land uses in the Philippines is very challenging to do, even at the local government unit level.
With that, do you think it's still necessary to come up with a Department of Disaster Resilience, or is it just redundancy? Is it just political will that we need at this point?
I believe so. I believe so that what we need is political will. I always say that to make us more resilient, let everybody, that includes the national government agencies, to do what they're supposed to do the right way. If for instance we are able to regulate the way people are actually building on different areas, in our landscape, we will be able to minimize our damages from disaster risk. I do believe that there will be redundancy when we create a new Department of Resilience, because there are already national government agencies in a position, to be able to implement those measures like NDRRMC, and Climate Change Commission, and so on. So all we need really is for these government agencies to work together,
Okay.
And make a unified action agenda to
Okay.
address this disaster risk.
Okay.